Well, I am here at Sky Zone. Sky Zone. The kids want to do some jumping on the trampoline place. I thought I would give them 1 hour. They have 23 minutes left. Then to the mall, then supper. Seems fair. Pretty eventful day. Let's see, what do we got here? 2-year-olds. I'm going to talk about the 2-year-olds. Allie's Got Grit. 2 stakes left in Illinois. What do we do with Allie's Got Grit? I like the horse. I think he can come back and be I think he can be a decent overnight horse at the Meadows or Northfield. I don't really know what to do with him, though. I am tossing around the idea of putting him, now a number of our 3-year-olds that still have shares, 2-year-olds coming 3 that have shares left. I was going to put them, have a sale, a Black Friday sale. Now, as I said, I assume Black Friday was Friday. But now somehow we've stretched it into a week. Now it's November 21st to 29th, Black Friday sale. That's not a day. That's actually more than a week. That's 8 days. That's a week and a day. Whatever. We'll see how that plays out. Arrowhead Hanover. He'll come back at the 6-week mark. It was funny. I talked to Scotty about a number of things today, and that came up. Obviously, Megan and him watch the videos sometimes, I guess. And I had talked quite extensively about 6 weeks being our line for our healthy horses that were getting turned out. And he asked why. And we had a great conversation about it and my thoughts on it. And, it's the same old mentality. And it's not that, obviously, Scotty's quite a bit younger than I am, so is Megan. But that old mentality, 8 weeks, 10 weeks is better for them. I don't think it is. And it ended up turning into a great conversation where I got to unpack my thoughts. You guys get most of it, but not all of it. And I was even more happy after I was done talking to him than before. So Arrowhead Hanover will come back in at that 6-week mark. Here's the problem. I'm going to bring him in at 6 weeks, train him down. Where do we race in Arrowhead Hanover? 100 and some thousand made, 5 wins. Not an easy place to race horse. Now, one of those wins was during Jug Week. No. The Ohio Sire Stakes are grassroots Buckeyes during Jug Week are considered a fair, but the Standardbred is not. I don't know why it would be. So, no, he's got 5 wins. I don't know where we start him. It might be the sense that we train him down, get him ready, school him, and maybe turn him out for another 2-3 weeks. That may sound silly to you, but getting a horse ready and prepared to race and then turning him out is something we never did. We aimed always as trainers anyway. Anybody I worked for and in my life, you train to have them ready on the date you need them ready, not before, not after. The more I think about that, I don't know why. Why is that? Get them ready. They're athletes. Have them prepared, ready. Take another couple of weeks. Cool down, let your joints cool down, and start back up again. I don't actually see anything wrong with that. We'll know after this year because we're going to implement that policy, so to speak, and then we'll all know together whether it worked well or not. Lily, same thing. 6 weeks, she'll be back in and going. Bluebird Tuxedo Hill began training today. Began training when he went to Ontario. I think Dominic said he's only been at 35 or 40 with him, but he's been happy with him. I think I better loop him into the blood work issue and ask him to draw blood on that horse this week. Just because it always seemed like his blood just drifted off, right? There was always something wrong with this horse's blood. Jason had him good before he sent him to Ontario. Unchecked, unfettered. I wonder how it looks right now. We'll find out soon enough. Blue Ventura is training back now. I told Dominic, he said, I've been in 35. I said, we're not aiming for February. There'll be no dragging your feet. I want the horses ready when they're supposed to be ready. When I said 6 weeks, I meant 6 weeks. So 6 weeks off, and it'd probably take 4 or 6 weeks getting them back. Not 10, not 12, 4 to 6. Cadeau will begin. I didn't train him today. I think Jason might have trained him today. Either way, he'll train on Wednesday. This guy, when he came back, he just looked a little frail looking, right? We treated him for EPM a little bit. We're going to continue to treat him. He's starting to eat really good, put weight on. I was happy with the way he looked when I saw him the other day. Again, I'd like to see him a little more on the track, but happy with the way he looked. Excuse me. Captain Incredible. Captain Incredible is turned out now for 6 weeks. We're going to bring him back in 6 weeks and start him back up. You know, somebody had tested me. They said, you said 6 weeks and a Captain Incredible. Does he get 8 or 10? Nope. He's going to get 6. Somebody said, well, I just, you know, with the issue he had with his knees, let me be as clear as I can. There are very few horses that don't have issues with their knees at 2. You have to manage them. You have to watch them. You have to be careful with them. All of them. They're babies, right? It's anybody that says, no, I had no issues at 2. None that you saw, but I can assure you there are issues in their knees. They all bother them for the most part. Some horses can either mask it, push through it, or they don't manifest in the same way. You have some horses that get quite a bit sore on them. They start to get that density issues in their bones. You can see them under x-ray. Some get lines. But for the most part, I think it's a rarity to say, oh, this horse had no issues at 2. You know, we had, I don't think we did any vet work on Arson at 2, if I'm mistaken. Very little, if we did any. I wouldn't say he had any issues, but his knees still bothered him. Century Legion, we talked about this. I'm not going to talk about Century Legion. We talked about him in 2 videos today, and he trained great. I was really happy with him. Chicago Hall, 6 weeks. He will be coming to Ohio to train back down. I'm 90% sure of that. Country Dancing went the other way. She's in Ontario training, jogging, getting ready to start training with Dominic. Dancing by myself is down to 2. Well, I had been in 15 with them. Dominic said he went to go in 15 today, but the track was a little muddy. Or he went to go in 210. Track was a little muddy, and he went in 15 again. He's been happy with him, so that's good. Fire and Shine will come back in at the 6-week mark. Again, looking at her, 39 shares at 670. I wonder how that would be if I reduced those next week to a filly that, sure, I'll be happy to take a loss, I guess, on a filly that's won her last 2 starts as a 2-year-old. That's where I'm torn, right? Obviously, that's where I'm torn. As somebody selling these shares and a lot of this money tied up as cost-related share prices, it's hard for me to just reduce them and dump them at a loss. But at the same time, am I prepared to be the majority owner of Fire and Shine through her sophomore season? There's the rub right there. Foxy Seaside has begun training in Ontario under Dominic. We'll see how she does over the next little while. Freedom Hill will come back in again at the 6-week mark. Gaslight Hall, he's getting the 8 because his knees really bothered him at 2. So he'll get the 8 weeks. Grand Old Chap, I talked about him in the video. I jumped over a gorgeous package. How could I do that? She'll come back in at 6 weeks. Grand Old Chap, talked about him in the video for Saturday. The blacksmith came in, took quite a bit of foot off him, and I think he was a little bit footsore today. He did not train good. He might even skip Wednesday's training right into next Saturday. Grand Slam Dio will come back in at 6 weeks, as will Jimboree. High Hopes is jogging right now. Began training today. Trained in 235 in Ontario, as I want to say as did I Don't Play Nice, but I think Harry said he begins training this week coming up. I'm a Trucker. I talked about him extensively in the Saturday video also. He's been training okay, been in 17. His knees were a little bothersome today. Got shod this week. One usually plays with the other. We're going to give him 2 weeks, no training. And I'll say it quickly as I did in my video for our client saying, is he going to get ready? He's 2. He's 2 years old. He'll be ready when he's ready. I'm Ready Too is qualifying this week, whether it be, it will be at Northfield Park. I talked to Chris Lems at the Meadows on Friday. Yes, on Friday, and said, hey, can you qualify that pacing colt that made a break on me the other night and a trotting colt? I'm Ready Too. He looks good. Jason said he trained awesome off the gate the other day. He is ready to go. Leggy is training in Ontario with Harry Polton, as is Manhattan Money. Melisandre, I trained her today. She trained good. Memento Mori will be back in. Scott asked again, what about a horse like Memento Mori that's been going all year? I said, well, Scott, he's going to get 6 weeks. That's what he's going to get. That's what we said. He's only got 2 lifetime wins. So by the time that New York Sires start up, I'd like to have 6 wins under his belt. And as I say, New York, easy now. I haven't made my mind up. He's going to make that up for us, whether it's going to be New York or Kentucky or a combination of both. That will be up to Memento Mori. Mountaineer Prince can come in anytime. We'll probably bring him in a week or so. And the reason I've given him more time, he just had that skinny little rump, right? I want to get him filled out a little bit more. So Jacob said he's still a little skinny over the butt, but he's looking better. So I said give him another week or 2 then. My Wicked Heart's been training this week. She'll continue to train and get ready. I'd love to qualify her and race her a couple of times before that sale on December 17th, just to let everybody know, hey, if you don't think she's worth it as a broodmare, you can put her in the box tomorrow if you want. Never Lose Felix is training now. Dominic's been in 220 with those horses. Oh Hill No is in that list, also been in 220 at Dominic's. Pelican Al out in the field for a few weeks. I told everybody he was pretty well ready to go. We've been in 2-4 with him, but 2-4 and 2-4 the right way are two different things. He felt a little gassed, a little beat up in 2-4. Turn him out, let the horse cool down. He's got some, maybe his knees are bothering him, maybe he's got some issues. Just give him a few weeks, let him relax. At the very least, he was probably a little bit sick. Resolve Indeed will come back in, and she will come over to Ohio also. I want to train these horses down, get a look at them. So he said, well, it makes no sense to have the Ontario breds outside of Ontario. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. So Ontario breds have to stay in Ontario? What about Ontario breds that aren't good enough to race at Mohawk? Where do they go? Because they're not going to London and Flamborough, I can tell you that. And if they are going to be London and Flamborough horses, they're not staying in our barn. I'm going to race them at Northfield, and I'm going to race them at the Meadows. And if and when they're good enough to go back to Ontario, that's the whole point of getting these horses ready. If and when they're good enough to go back to Ontario, then we'll send them back to Ontario. But when they go back to Ontario, it is the premise that they are going to be stake horses, whether that be the gold or the grassroots variety. That's why they're here. That's why they're going to be coming to Ohio. Rose Run AJ is back in jogging now. Rose Run Alexandra will be joining him at some point. As I said, 6 weeks, they'll come back in. Rosetta is back jogging here. She sits in the bar, arrives on Monday. I know that she's not sound every day. What I'm going to need is a report from Dr. Latessa on her x-ray, ultrasound. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's not going on. Tell me what our options are to get her to the races. And if she has very limited options to get to the races, then fine. She'll be a broodmare. And that's that. That's as clear as I can be when she sits at the bar. Southwind Ibex has been in 215 in Ontario, continues to get better. Dominic is as I say many times, he's very optimistic. He makes me look pessimistic sometimes. And he said, Ibex is coming along. Ibex is lazy. Now, is his breeding going to show up? He's going to become a nice horse? I don't know. I'd love him to start by him becoming a good overnight horse. Then we can work on the stakes and see how he's going to be. But at the same time, I need him to pick it up. So we'll see. Speed of Sound has been training good. No shocker there. I like her. Trevino on green. We got to change his shoes around. I'm going to send a message to our blacksmith and just say, can you switch him around here and there and see if we can't get this guy going. Of course, I would be timed out. I have to get this changed. This is so annoying. At least it was quick getting it changed over here. Don't annoy me. Where are we at here? Speed of Sound. Trevino on green. Shoeing change with him. Westland Warrior will be back in at that 6-week mark. What a Lady, What a Night is in the exact same boat as Ali's Got Great. Do we move these horses before the end of the year? Do we move them next week before their last stake? Do we hang on to them? Do we race them in the overnights? Because I think they both can do in overnights. Or do we just cut bait? I don't know yet. I have no idea. Woodmere Betcha getting ever so close to qualifying, I'm told, in Ontario. I think we're mere weeks away. I think she will be qualified before Santa arrives. I just don't know what she'll look like. That'll be up to Jamie Smith. So those are your 2-year-olds. You're all up to date with your 2-year-olds, your 3-year-olds, your race horses. I was going to do the yearlings, but for what? They haven't begun doing anything yet. Here, I'll tell you an update on the yearlings. The yearlings look good. They feel good. They've all broken good. None of them have harmed themselves or anyone in the barn. They haven't broken any jog carts or any equipment. So all is well on the front of the yearlings moving forward. Very happy. I think when we factor in, I got to factor in the affiliate Steve bought into here. When we implant her into our midst, I believe we're exactly 50 yearlings as we head into Christmas. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I am having a nice quiet day with the kids. Amy is off. She is at Taylor Swift right now. She's already arrived. Her and Jenna, I'm sure, will be drinking and watching Taylor Swift. But you know what? If there's anybody on this planet that deserves it, it is my wife. So take care. I will talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.